This is my second video today, so you might recognize similar clothing. I don't know if I can adequately describe the encouragement my heart has been receiving the last few weeks. Around this time last year, there were behavior struggles that felt very dire with my youngest, to the point where I was considering the changes that I needed to make in his everyday routine. I can't quite describe it, and I don't want to share too many details, but just understand that it was very, very, very difficult, and it had me questioning how I was parenting, which was a tough pill to swallow because I've been a mom for 20 years, and that time period was unmatched to the entire time that I had been a parent. And you know, when you have a 20-year-old, generally speaking, moms that are newer come to moms like me for advice. We tend to carry a little more wisdom. We've been around a few blocks over the years of parenting. We've tried things and failed at things. And so when certain behaviors come up and you're questioning your methods, it was an interesting time, and I was questioning whether or not I was a good mom. And when you're going through things like that, you're not going to get your answer on whether you're a good mom or not at that point. But what I came here to do today is to share how God is encouraging my heart, and how God is letting me know that I have what I need to mother. And I'm definitely not a perfect mother, but I'm a loving and dedicated mother. And even when I make mistakes, even when my methods need to change, that doesn't diminish all of the work that has gone in and continues to go in, whether you're going through a trial or not. So I want that to encourage you too, because motherhood is hard, parenthood is hard, but ultimately, if you're waking up every day and you're putting in the best that you've got, you're a good parent. And it takes more than good parenting to raise good kids. I know that culture will have us believe that if you're a good parent, you'll raise good kids. But last year, granted, my methods have changed a little bit, but my heart has always been in my parenting. And so I was a good parent then, and I'm a good parent now, and that's not reflective on the behaviors that are coming out of my kids. Behaviors, though, sometimes are a symptom of something that needs to be addressed. So we absolutely changed our methods. We absolutely have gotten much more firm in our routines. Our youngest loves unstructured time. And he also is not on screens nearly as much as my older two were at this age, because I know better now. But either way, unstructured time used to be fairly uncomfortable for me. I like to have a routine. And but with that said, the need for being flexible in your daily life turned into a bit of a thing for me, where I was much less structured than I needed to be. And having kids in full-time school helps with structure, because they are structured all day, and then they need to come home and just be kids too. Like, they need to have free time to create and, you know, mine love Legos, and it takes time to build Legos, especially if you're using your creativity and not using an instruction book. So, you know, there's balance to routines, but ultimately we changed our routine, got a little bit more firm in that way, got much more decisive. Kids will come to you with hundreds of requests throughout the day. And you might find yourself saying no all the time, but you might find yourself saying yes all the time, just so you can kind of get a little bit of a quiet reprieve, right? I mean, if you say yes to TV time, your kid's not going to be bugging you for a while, especially if you're in my house where, like there are TV times and there are times where you need to entertain yourself. But use that brain that God gave you, as I say. Like, come on, boredom is not bad. It's actually a really good thing to be bored, because that's when you can do things, you create. Long story short, I've been a mom for 20 years, dedicated and loving all those 20 years. But when one of my children was going through behavioral issues at school, I was questioning whether I really was a good mom or not. And we did come to some conclusions that some methods needed to change, and we implemented those methods immediately once I was, given the tools to use them. Now, the last few weeks, multiple occasions, my son has been complimented on what an amazing kid he is. Words like remarkable, amazing, phenomenal, loving. He's turned over a new leaf. Yes, part of it is maturity, which I was hoping and praying that part of what we were going through last year was simply a stage of development. But you also wonder sometimes if it's going to be something that affects them down the road, or if there's something clinical that needs to be addressed. And so I was grasping at straws, but I was also just praying that he would feel loved and would be put around people who would care for him and nurture him the way he needed. And it's been a slow leaf, it doesn't happen overnight. But to be here almost a year later, where last year I was considering schooling options, to this year getting these beautiful compliments on the same kid. So that's where there's encouragement to really put in the work. And again, I'm not going to say I can attribute all of this to how we changed our methods, but there were things I had to surrender. Number one, I had to surrender the embarrassment of managing behavior issues in public. Let me back up and correct that to say, children who are being corrected need dignity in their correction. So blasting them or yelling at them in public is not the way to manage a consequence. By all means, get their attention. If you have to say their name louder than you normally would just to get their attention. But then walk them to a private place where you can have a quiet heart-to-heart. And that right there, if you adjust that, if you've been, publicly giving your kids consequences where other kids or other adults can see, I just encourage you to just take it private. And the reason why is, first and foremost, there's dignity in doing that. And second, they can actually concentrate on what you're saying. And furthermore, it gives you a chance, if you're really upset, it gives you a chance to cool down and manage the behavior appropriately. So my favorite term last year when we were going through things was come take a walk with me. It's just a blessing, and it's been encouraging to my heart to hear compliments, because that's the thing that God uses other people to encourage you. I went through a real hard time with another one of my kids not too long ago, and God knows when we're going through struggles, and He uses people here to breathe that encouragement into us. So in that situation, I had multiple people telling me how this other kid was such a good kid. And it's interesting because you're the parent, so you're seeing all the good, bad, and ugly. And you're also their safe person. So they're going to show you they're ugly. But it's just so refreshing when objective eyes can look at your kids and say they're good kids. Because truly, I truly believe that all kids are good kids. They just really need loving guidance and firm boundaries. They need to trust the adults in their life, that they're not going to be wavering back and forth. That creates instability. So by all means, just be decisive with your kids, and that makes a difference. Give consistent boundaries. Give lots of love. Again, I won't say that I'm some guru that has all the answers, because I've had to walk through the struggles too, and I've had to, you know, find my tools and resources, and that comes from, you know, talking to other moms, of course. So, you know, if you do have young kids, coming to a mom who has kids that are in their 20s, that's usually a safe bet, because, you know, we've just experienced things. And then understand that these past few years, if you've become a mom over the past even 4 years, parenthood wasn't always like this. But I truly believe this is a very blessed generation. God is doing things in this generation that are tangible, and they're going to have good things as the outcome for years to come. So hang in there, put in the work, and be diligent, and love your kids hard, and you won't be let down with the fruit that comes. Have a great day.